Hey there again. This is another update to my inventory manager. I might be a little quiet, but it's like 5 in the morning here, and I don't really feel like talking that much. So I'll do my best. I added a few things to the actual inventory customizing, where you can actually add a border to your thing, your windows, which doesn't add a whole lot, but it adds a little effect at least. And you can do that for both the bag window and the equip window. And then I went and added in labels, so you can actually customize your labels a lot more than you could before. Before I just had them displaying in any random location, and now you can actually go and set font size if the font lets you choose a size. And then you can set the offsets for each, and if you click this button right here, you can actually see each and every different offset, because some of these words are longer than the other, so they need to be set differently. Like main hand, for instance, need to be set at 3 and 40. They're all set at 40, just on the bottom, and then 3 over, because it's just a longer word, obviously. I think that's all I had for that. Oh, there's one thing right here. I added one option so you can equip on pickup. So if you wanted to automatically equip items as you picked up stuff, you could do that. I don't really want to get into looting stuff quite yet, but I'll show that real fast and then turn it off. So it's not equipping in my bag, it's equipping to a selected location if the location is empty at the time. So that's kind of a little thing I need to work around, but that's all. Alright, I think that's all I have for that bag right there. The stuff I want to talk about is actually all this stuff right here, which I've recently been doing a lot on. So I currently have custom player data, which includes vitals, statistics, skills, currency types, which is a new one that you probably didn't see in a different video, item types, which is kind of like specialty slot locations. I'll explain that later. And offensive and defensive types, which are explained in different videos. Obviously, vitals are just health, mana, energy, stats, strength, stamina, intelligence. Skill types like melee, range, speed, haste, whatever you want, it doesn't matter, you just add it in there. Currency types, you can have your own currency. I did platinum, gold, silver, and copper just because it's kind of common. Item types, I did as a couple examples of what you could do with this. I did two-hand weapon, rifle, which is another two-hand weapon in my case, and then I did full body armor, which I will show you guys in a minute. And then offensive types, fire, cold, poison, physical damage, base damage, I don't know, it could be anything like that. And defensive types, armor, fire resist, cold resist, poison resist, just everything kind of negating your offensive types, like anything like that. So, vital types, come into here real quick. Added these next button and previous buttons because it's a little nicer instead of actually constantly coming in here. You can quickly get a nice overview. So you can do max, min, starting max, and then starting current for each and every one of them. Stats. There's a lot of little explanations and such, so if you don't want to see that explanations, I put this button right here, so it's just a little cleaner and not such a pain to see everything. So quick overview, you can set a maximum stand value for your player, and then you can set the current, where you want the player to start at, and then you can set this one is already set to as a skill modifier instead of actually like if you want your player to level up and you give him skill points per level up and he can choose where to put those, that's completely, you just click this false and not worry about these level ups. If you set it to skill, oops, this says skill on here. If you set it to experience based, like you want your stats to actually level up with usage, such as if you want your strength to level up with like melee attacks, then just set this and you can go into explanations and actually look at maybe how many melee attacks would take if you did one at a time, you know. It'd take 10 to get your, whatever actually it would take, let's see, you start at 15. To get to 16 you need 80, so that may be 80 melee attacks. Other than that, it has a list of current vitals affected. You can add just right here. So this one does stamina, so it does health and energy. And other ones, stuff like intelligence will do like mana. That's all it for stats. Skills, you can set your maximum skill for a player. You can set the starting, which would probably be 1. You can just set it right here. That is actually one thing I wanted to ask you guys. If you guys like this kind of setup where it's like vertically, or if you guys like the horizontally, because it looks, I don't know, more compact. Any input on that would be great. So I can just set it to this horizontal or vertical, whichever ones you guys prefer. For each skill, back to this, for each skill you can set the skill to be known at the beginning, or you can set it to be false if you want the player to learn it eventually. You can set it to be skill gain or level based, again, if like you want your players to put points into their skills, and you give them skills, so many skill points per level or something. That's kind of up to you. You just set this right here to false. You no longer have to deal with the experience. Otherwise, you can set your experience modifier right here or right here. See, it's just as a quick to all of them. This is the modifier value, and I added a little helper just to show you how much actually it is at your current maximum skill. So say we set this 150, and then this is 0.25. That means we have, once this skill of melee is maxed out at 150 skill points, and the modifier value is 25%. But since we have 150 skill points, the modifier is actually 37.5. So that's kind of all that is. Offensive data, you can hide again, hider. There's quite a few explanations in this one. I allowed raw kind of damage, like, so let's say you have fire, which is fire. So a max raw damage allowed, so maybe like you only want the player to, like maybe you want whoever's building your game, or if you're building your game, you're like, I only want to add 100 damage to my weapons, just set this maximum. And in the item customizer you can set how much damage extra on top of whatever. You can set like fire damage, like 100 fire damage or 30 fire damage. And then I did percentage as well, and this would be kind of calculated against maybe your overall damage, or if you're maybe like doing like spell stuff in here, like spell damage, you can set that to 75% of your spell damage, or like you can do obviously 0.25 of your spell damage, it doesn't matter, but this is your maximum, so set up to your maximum amount. And then in the item editor that I created, it's somewhat finished, but not really. You can set the actual items maximum. Besides that, you can set a skill. It's not supposed to be that. Physical damage is melee, sure. So you can set a skill that's going to modify with this offensive. So if you have physical damage, it's melee, and that's that modifier from melee, which is this 0.25, is going to modify your physical damage as well. And then you can also set stat to modify as well. And right now it's set to 5%. I know it doesn't show that, but that's what it is. So for every, it basically just takes your overall stats and then gives you 5% output gain, basically. Let's see, defensive data, same kind of stuff. You can set your resists and armor, whatever kind of defensive stuff. You can set your base value, or max base value. Basically, what I would, it actually explains in here, you want to set your base value to whatever you're going to calculate against. So maybe every armor piece maybe is going to have like 20 or 30 or maybe 40, 50, I don't know, whatever it is. Maybe 100 is max, which is would be pretty high in the case of 1,000 because it's 10%. But then you just take your max divided by your cumulative, and that's your 10% bonus. So each item maybe has 1,000 for 10,000 at least, or 1,000. 10,000? 10,000. And then again, just the percentage. You can say overall, like what maximum percentage added onto like your armor. This is the damage that it's opposing, which is right here. You can read stuff over here. So physical damage and armor, kind of opposing, sure. And then you can add some modifying to stat defenses. For armor, I just put strength and stamina just as a quick reference thing. Maybe strength, I don't know. And then you can also do a skill that modifies this as well, and I put defense just as a quick example. Onto item types. I probably will have to make another video, so that's fun. Item types is something that I recently just made. It allows you to make something like, if you want to use like a two-hander or something, such as like this two-handed weapon, and you can make it yeah. So yeah. Sorry to think there. Yeah, you can basically add slots that you want this item to go into, and actually it's going to require that these items be empty, basically. So they don't even have to equip to that slot, but they're going to remove these items and they'll replace it with these textures. So it doesn't matter what they are. You can even leave this blank, it doesn't matter. So if you want to do like something like full body armor, you can have the head, chest, hands, and feet all replaced by this one piece of armor, which I have set as the chest as the main, which I'll show you in the item editor. I think I'm going to stop the video actually and go and make a second.